Hi, Olof here, and this is a hardtail for a change. Let's get straight to the point. The unique thing with this bike is the adjustable chainstay down there. So if you want to, you can use this bike with 29ers or with, so you can equip this bike with either 29ers or with 27.5 or 27.5 plus wheels, which makes it very versatile if you want to try out different combinations. This particular bike is a 29er. It's got not plus wheels, but there are 2.6 both front and rear. And you sort of need that high volume tires, at least where I am today. I did run these tires with a too high tire pressure, 1.8, and that was way too much for these trails, so I lowered that quite a bit, and that completely transforms this bike, and that makes me aware of that hardtail bikes are very much more sensitive to tire pressures. I did test a Specialized Enduro Elite a couple of weeks ago, and I also ran 1.8 on those tires too, and that was no problem at all. But here I had to lower it quite a bit actually. I've lowered the tire pressures quite a bit. I usually have 1.8 bars of pressure, but that's way too much on these trails. But now the bike feels a lot better. Wrong gear. And I have more confidence in the jumps as well. Feels smoother. I'm not thrown about as much as I was before. And now it feels a lot better. Let's see how this works. Yeah, still the rear tire is a bit slippery. Front tire is okay, but it's very, very shaky. We're quite loose down here, but these tires are actually good in looser sands, I think. It's a different story when it's wet. But here it's dry sand, works fine. Yeah, very nice bike. I thought this bike was so harsh the first few runs, but after lowering the tire pressure and getting used to the bike, getting used to use the legs a lot more, I'm starting to appreciate this bike a lot more than I did with the first runs. And I think the biggest advantage with this bike is how little maintenance is needed to run this bike. It's only the fork basically and the drivetrain, just some lube on the chain and off you go. And in my eyes, this is a very good looking hardtail. I really like this brushed or polished aluminium together with these black details, these black components and black tires, as well as with these brownish reddish decals everywhere on the bike. Makes it stand out quite a lot from other hardtails, I think. But not only that, so there's internal cable routing for both the brakes and the drivetrain, and also this dropper. Speaking of the dropper, the saddle on top of this dropper is actually very nice. I sit very comfortably here, and that's important on a hardtail because that saddle needs to take some of that vibration and these bumps a little bit. So geometry-wise, it's nothing that really stands out with this bike. It's nicely balanced. And that head angle is around 66.5 degrees, I think. And this is a size large bike, and it's got a reach of around 460. So it's quite average, I would say, for a hardtail. And that seat angle is around 74 degrees, which is quite spot on actually. Could be steeper, but since this isn't a full suspension bike, it doesn't have to have that steep seat angle. It doesn't sag as full suspension bikes do. So spec-wise, it's a SLX drivetrain, which works pretty well, I think, even though there are better drivetrains out there. That dropper up there, I think is 150 millimeters, works very well. I don't know the brand, but I write it down here. And that fork, it's a standard Fox 34 rhythm. And this fork works okay, I think, but that's about minimum what you want in a fork on a burly hardtail. I first thought these brakes were very, very weak, and they were actually very, very weak. But I think they weren't bedded in properly. Right now, they are very powerful. There are 4 pot brakes, and yeah, definitely enough with this bike. Yeah, definitely have to work a lot harder with the legs, with the hardtail. think this is a trail bike which you can ride some gnarlier trails with and take to your local bike park if you want to. It's got the geometry for it, but you do have to work with your legs quite a lot actually to accommodate for that missing rear suspension. And after a while I got used to this bike and I now understand the versatility of this bike. You can take it on cross-country runs, you can take it to a bike park. We went down an enduro trail today, rated red, and yeah, I was shaky, I can tell you, but the bike did it. I'm 185 centimeters tall, and I think this bike in size large is a little bit too small, especially when I'm sitting down and pedaling the bike. It feels a little bit cramped, so maybe I should have an extra large, and that geometry scale that Specialized provides also tells me that I should have an extra large bike. But when standing up, I appreciate the nimbleness of the bike. It's pretty easy to jump with it, despite being a hardtail. You just need to plan your jumps a little bit more and be more aware of your body position.
Now this is where the fun part begins. So, let's go! It's like a roller coaster here.
Oh, that was a jump. Oh, some speed there. Here are 3 annoying things with the Specialized fuse. For riding in bike parks, you will get a good workout and possibly a sore back. The bike can take a beating, the question is if you can. For the price of this bike, I would appreciate an overall step up in components. For being a burly hardtail, I would personally like to have seen some more progressive measurements to handle the descents better. Here are 3 good things with the Specialized fuse. It's great to see that some thought has gone into making this a very versatile bike, which you can adjust to your wheels at hand and to your likings. Which leads us to the next good thing, versatility in general. This is a do-it-all bike. Don't underestimate good looks. This bike will make you look good too.